The sun over Accra had a stubborn way of reminding the poor of their struggles. It beat down on tin roofs, painted sweat on foreheads, and bleached the colors of market umbrellas until every shade looked tired. In the middle of this chaos sat Emma Owusu, 25, a talented tailor who dreamed beyond her surroundings. Her stall, tucked between a fruit vendor and a shoe repairer, was barely wide enough to fit her sewing machine, but her imagination went farther than Oxford Street and beyond. Every stitch she made was a silent rebellion. "I swear, Emma," said Lydia, her loud and ever-dramatic friend, "you act like Gucci go call you one day." Emma smiled faintly. "Who says they won't? Maybe they'll start a Ghana line." She looked at her phone screen. The influencers she followed were flaunting designer bags, brunch photos, and soft life captions. She wanted that. The problem? Her savings couldn't even buy her the brunch plate. Life wasn't bad, just painfully ordinary. She rented a small room, paid her bills, and kept hope alive. Every night, she'd whisper, "God, just one breakthrough. Let my story change." That prayer was about to be answered, but not in the way she expected. One afternoon, as she was closing up, a motorbike stopped by her stall. The rider removed his helmet, a dark-skinned man in a faded blue jacket, sweat glistening on his forehead. "Excuse me," he said softly. "Delivery for Madam Emma." She frowned. "That's me." He handed her a wrapped bundle of imported fabric, the type she couldn't afford but always admired. "It's prepaid," he said. "By who?" He smiled faintly. "Your supplier from Osu. Said you'd need it." She nodded slowly. "Curious. Thanks." He turned to leave. "Wait," she said impulsively. "What's your name?" "Kwame," he replied. "Kwame Owusu." The name didn't strike her then. It would later shake her world. Kwame Owusu's life was a paradox. A billionaire who found peace pretending to be poor. After years abroad building his fintech company, KO Holdings, he'd returned home under the radar. Fame had cost him sincerity, and now he wanted to experience humanity stripped of wealth. So he rode his bike through the dusty streets of Accra, delivering parcels for his own logistics subsidiary. No one knew he owned it. He preferred it that way. When he saw Emma the first time, he noticed her before she noticed him. The precision in her sewing, the way she frowned when her machine jammed, her lips silently moving as she measured. There was beauty in her focus, not just her face. He started delivering her fabrics more often, sometimes on purpose. She began recognizing him. "E.I. Kwame, you again," she teased one afternoon. "I deliver where they send me," he replied modestly. "Or maybe you just like my smile." He chuckled. "Maybe." There was something honest about her energy, a dreamer who still laughed through disappointment. But Emma's mind warred with her heart. "He's sweet," she told Lydia later. "But look at him. No car, no luxury. I can't suffer twice, in life and in love." Lydia shrugged, "Then stop smiling when he comes." Emma sighed. "I wish love paid rent." Kwame didn't miss her hesitation. He'd seen it before, in people who valued appearances more than essence. But he stayed kind, because he understood what it was like to be underestimated. And soon, fate would test both of them. One Wednesday, rain poured endlessly over Accra. The market became a chaos of umbrellas, plastic sheets, and shouting vendors trying to protect their goods. Emma's stall flooded halfway. She was on her knees, trying to save her machine, when she heard a familiar voice. "Hey," Kwame said, handing her his raincoat. "You'll get cold." She blinked. "What about you?" He smiled. "I'm already soaked." Together, they dragged her things out of the water. By the time the rain stopped, her dress was drenched, her hair plastered to her face. But for the first time, she didn't care. She was laughing with him, genuinely. Afterward, he brought her food, plain rice and stew. "Nothing fancy," he said, "but it's hot." She hesitated, then smiled. "Thank you." It was simple, ordinary, but the way he watched her eat, the way his eyes softened when she laughed, it made something flutter inside her chest. For a moment, the world outside the market didn't matter. But that evening, when Lydia visited, Emma told her what happened. Lydia gasped. You shared food with a delivery man. Emma frowned. So? Ah, Emma, you're beautiful, talented, and you want to waste it on someone who earns daily wages. Emma laughed nervously. He's kind. Kind doesn't buy cars, Lydia snapped. That night, Emma scrolled through her Instagram feed again. Influencers on trips to Dubai, couples in matching designer fits. She sighed. I can't settle, she whispered. The next day, she treated Kwame coldly. Please drop it and go, she said when he came. His face fell, but he said nothing. Sometimes, kindness meets pride before destiny shows its face. Days passed. Emma tried ignoring him, but the silence hurt her too. When she was sick one afternoon, she closed the store early, only to find a small paper bag waiting at her door. Inside was ginger tea, cough syrup, and a note. Hope you feel better soon. Kay. Her chest tightened. No man had cared like that since her father died. The next morning, she found him at the market gate. You left this? She asked. He nodded. Why? You looked tired. Just wanted to help. She didn't know whether to smile or cry. You're strange, Kwame. Strange is good sometimes, he said with a grin. For the first time, Emma saw the depth in his eyes, calm, observant, almost regal. She wondered what his story was. But before she could ask, Lydia appeared, tossing her hair dramatically. Emma, hurry. Prince Yabo is here. Emma's heart skipped. The name belonged to one of her high-end customers, a social media influencer with money, fame, and charm. Prince had noticed her work during a fashion event. Now, he was offering her a chance to upgrade. Dinner tonight, he said, flashing a perfect smile. Skybar 25. Bring your best look. Emma hesitated. Kwame quietly stepped back, his expression unreadable. That night, she looked in the mirror and whispered, This could be my breakthrough. She didn't know it would be the beginning of her humiliation. Skybar 25 glowed over the city like paradise for the rich. Emma stepped out of a trotro, clutching her small purse, praying her thrift gown looked expensive enough. Prince greeted her with champagne and camera, and Emma mentioned her tailoring business. Prince chuckled. Tailor? That's cute. You should model instead, or marry well. The laughter from his friends stung her. I'm proud of what I do, she said quietly. Relax. Babe, don't take it personal. Emma excused herself, holding back tears. As she stepped outside, she froze. Kwame was there, helmet under his arm, delivering a parcel to the next table. Their eyes met. She panicked, ashamed to be seen by him in that setting. Without thinking, she turned away, pretending not to know him. Kwame's smile faded. He nodded silently, dropped the parcel, and rode away. That night, as Emma returned home, the guilt chewed at her. Why did she care what he thought? He was just a delivery man. But her heart whispered something else. He deserved better than her pride. She didn't know that fate was already plotting to make her see the truth through one single bank notification that would shatter her world. The dinner ended worse than Emma imagined. Prince Yaboa, drunk and loud, started bragging about the girls he'd helped in the past. His friends laughed, treating Emma like an accessory. When she tried to leave early, he scoffed, Ah, relax. You think I brought you here to pray. Her cheeks burned. She stood up quietly, clutching her purse, and walked out before her tears could show. Outside the rooftop, the night air was cold, but not colder than the shame inside her. She walked to the exit and froze. There he was again, Kwame, loading boxes onto his motorbike, wearing that same faded jacket. For a moment, she thought fate was mocking her. She ducked behind a pillar, praying he wouldn't see her. But Kwame's eyes were sharp. He noticed everything. Emma, he called softly. She toned, pretending to check her phone. Oh, you again. He smiled, though his eyes were sad. Delivery. Right. She could feel his disappointment, but pride wouldn't let her admit her shame. I'm busy, she muttered. Good night. Kwame watched her leave, shoulders trembling. He wanted to ask if she was okay, but he understood. People often hide their pain behind arrogance. As he rode away, the city lights reflected in his eyes like quiet fire. That night, Emma couldn't sleep. The image of him looking at her, not with anger, but disappointment, kept haunting her. "Why do I care?" she whispered into the darkness. Maybe because deep down, she knew the truth. The man she hid from had treated her with more respect than the one she tried to impress. The next day, Emma returned to work pretending nothing happened. Lydia arrived with gossip as usual. "Girl, I saw you on Skybar's tag list. Prince Yaboa even posted your picture on his story." Emma forced a smile. "Really?" "Yes-o, but he captioned it, 'Helping local talent shine.'" Emma's stomach twisted. Helping? Like she was a charity case? Before she could respond, Kwame appeared, carrying a fabric parcel. His face was calm, professional, but colder than usual. "Delivery," he said simply. Emma tried to act unbothered. "You can drop it." As he turned to leave, something slipped from his jacket pocket, a sealed envelope with a golden logo that read Kewusu Holdings Limited. She picked it up. "Hey, you dropped this." He turned. "Ah, thank you." Curious, she squinted at the envelope. "This company looks familiar." He shrugged lightly. "You've probably seen it online." She smirked. "You? Working for a big company like that?" He gave a small, knowing smile. "You'd be surprised what's possible." Emma chuckled. "Sure, maybe you're the CEO, right?" "Maybe," he said, eyes glinting, and walked away. She laughed as he left, but something about his tone lingered. That night, Lydia showed her a viral article. Kewusu Holdings to announce multimillion Sadie fintech expansion in Ghana. Emma read it aloud. Kwame Owusu, the founder and CEO. Her laughter froze. The name, the face in the small image looked eerily familiar, though clearer, sharper, in a suit. "No way," she whispered. But it was only a matter of time before fate confirmed it. Emma couldn't get the article out of her head. She needed to know if it was him. The next afternoon, when Kwame came again, she confronted him. "So, you've been hiding your identity, hey?" she asked, arm folded. He blinked. "What do you mean?" "That envelope, Kewusu Holdings. You expect me to believe you're just a delivery man." Kwame's expression softened. "What do you want to believe?" "I want the truth." "The truth," he said calmly, "is that people show their real selves when they think you're beneath them." Emma frowned. "So you were testing me?" He sighed. "No, I was trying to live simply, but I guess simplicity doesn't look rich enough." She rolled her eyes. "Please, spare me your philosophy. If you're really rich, prove it." He smiled faintly. "I don't need to prove anything." Her pride flared. "Then stop pretending you're something you're not. Delivery men don't speak like motivational speakers." He chuckled softly. "And tailors don't look down on people they don't understand." The silence stretched. The market noise faded behind them. "Not everything gold shines in the sun, Emma," he said quietly before walking away. She stood frozen, anger burning under her skin. Yet beneath the anger, something else whispered, "What if he's right?" A week passed. Emma avoided Kwame, focusing on her customers and pretending life was fine. But inside, she felt hollow. One hot afternoon, Lydia burst into the shop, phone in hand. "AMA!" she screamed. "You won't believe this." Emma groaned. "What is it this time?" Lydia shoved her phone at her. On the screen was a headline from Business Daily Ghana. Tech billionaire Kwame Owusu returns to Accra, launches 500 million Ghanaian Cedis fintech fund. Emma's mouth fell open. The photo, sharp, professional, confident, was him. The same Kwame, the same eyes, the same faint smile. Her voice trembled. "That's him." Lydia nodded, wide-eyed. "You mean you didn't know?" Emma sat down slowly, her heart pounding like drums at a festival. Memories flooded in, the quiet wisdom in his tone, the note he left with her medicine, the golden envelope she mocked. "Oh, God," she whispered. "I called him fake. I laughed at him." Lydia's grin faded. "Emma, you're telling me you rejected a billionaire for Prince Yaboa." Emma covered her face. "Please don't say it out loud." But the market didn't stay quiet for long. Gossip spread like wildfire. Within hours, traders were whispering, "That's the girl who insulted the rich man pretending to be poor." Emma's shame turned to panic. She needed to fix it, to see him, to apologize. The next morning, she went searching, and what she was about to witness would burn itself into her memory forever. Emma found him at the loading bay behind the tech hub in Osu. No bike this time, just a sleek black SUV. Kwame was standing beside it, speaking with two men in suits. When she approached, the guards almost stopped her, but Kwame turned, eyes softening when he saw her. "Emma," he said simply. "I came to talk," she said quickly. "Please." He dismissed the guards and motioned for her to step aside. For a long moment, she didn't speak. Then her voice broke. "I didn't know who you were. I thought—" "You thought I was beneath you," he finished quietly. Her eyes welled. "I was stupid. Everyone made me believe love only works when money leads." Kwame sighed, pulling out his phone, not to show off, but to complete a transfer to one of his staff. As he spoke, the phone pinged loudly. A bright notification popped on the screen. 12500 transferred successfully from Owusu Holdings. Emma froze. The numbers looked unreal, like a movie scene. Her mind screamed. The broke delivery man was, in fact, the billionaire everyone in Ghana was talking about. Her legs wobbled. "You're really—" "Yes," he said softly. "I'm the same man who brought you food when it rained. The same man you hid from at Sky Bar." Her tears spilled freely. "Kwame, I'm sorry." He nodded gently. "I forgive you, Emma. But I hope you learn something, not from me, for yourself." He turned to leave. She wanted to speak, but words failed. The sound of that bank notification echoed in her ears like thunder. It wasn't just money. It was revelation, a mirror showing her everything pride had cost her. And in that single moment, Emma's life changed forever. The morning after the notification, Emma woke with a pounding headache and a heavier heart. Osu's traffic roared outside her window like judgment. She replayed every moment with Kwame, every kindness she dismissed, every joke she made to sound above poverty. The simple ring of his phone, 12,500,000 Ghanaian cedis transferred successfully, had split her life into a before and after. She closed her eyes and whispered, "God, give me the courage to face the truth." At Makola, she arrived early, swept the floor twice, wiped dust that wasn't there. Customers trickled in. Some smiled with curiosity that felt like pity. Others gave her the kind of nod that said we heard. Lydia burst in, breathless. "Emma, his trending. Not just his company. Him. Interviews. Photos. They are calling him the invisible billionaire." Emma's hands trembled. "And me?" Lydia paused. "They are saying you called him fake. That you laughed at him. Some clips from Sky Bar surfaced. They are dragging you, sis." Emma's throat tightened. Who recorded that? Prince's people. They love clout. Emma swallowed shame like bitter medicine. "I have to speak to Kwame, properly this time. No pride." By afternoon, she took a trotro to the Osu Tech Hub. She didn't wait for permission. She walked through glass doors into a lobby that smelled like new money and ambition. A receptionist looked up. "Good afternoon. I'm here to see Mr. Owusu. Do you have an appointment?" "No," she said, steadying her voice. "But I have an apology." The woman studied her, then made a call. Minutes later, an elevator chimed. Kwame stepped out in a navy jacket. No tie, still modest despite the power in his posture. His eyes, warm and tired, landed on her. "Emma." She exhaled. "I came to tell the truth. To your face. No pretending." He nodded toward a quiet lounge. "They Saturday." She folded her hands on her knees like a child before a headmaster. "I judged you," she said. "I measured your worth by your jacket, your motorbike, the company you kept. I let social media tell me what is valuable. And when your kindness didn't fit the image in my head, I mocked it. I'm sorry." He listened, expression open but unreadable. "Thank you for saying it." "I'm not here because you're rich," she added, voice cracking. I'm here because the man I saw delivering in the rain treated me like a person when others treated me like content. You showed up when it flooded. You brought me tea when I was sick. You never once tried to embarrass me. He leaned back, eyes on the ceiling for a beat. I came home to remember. When you had money long enough, people perform around you like dancers. I wanted to meet life without choreography. And I ruined that, she whispered. He shook his head gently. No, you revealed something I also needed to remember. It's easy to idealize regular life until it hurts your ego. They sat in quiet. The hum of servers filled the space like rainfall. I forgive you, he said finally. But forgiveness isn't a shortcut past consequences. People will talk. You can't control that. You can only decide who you'll be now. I want to be better, she said. Not just for you, for me. He smiled faintly. Then begin. She stood to leave, then paused. Can I ask one thing? Not money, not favors. Just, if we meet again, can we start as equals? Not CEO and Taylor, just Kwame and Emma. He considered this, the corner of his mouth lifting. I'd like that. She walked out of the building lighter, though the world outside was about to get louder. The truth had been revealed. To him, to her, to everyone watching. And now, the storm would come. The storm arrived before sunset. Phones buzzed like beehives in the market. TikTok edits laid her skybar smile with clips of Kwame stepping out of SUVs. Twitter spaces hosted by people who'd never met had debated her soul. On Instagram, a gossip page posted, "From delivery boy to billionaire, how Emma missed out." The comments were knives wrapped in emojis. Gold digger meets karma. She did what many of you would do, beg. Where can I find this delivery route, please? Lydia tried to shield her, but even friends spoke with a soft cruelty of curiosity. When Emma stepped out for plantain chips, two teenagers whispered and giggled. Phones tilted toward her. She straightened her spine, kept walking. That evening, someone sent her a link. A vlogger had uploaded a 12-minute breakdown titled, "Clout Chasing Via's Character, the Emma and Kwame Lesson." They clipped her skybar photo beside a screenshot of the Keowusu holding site. The view count rose like a fever. At home, Emma lay on her mattress staring at the ceiling fan. The shame wasn't just online. It crawled into her memories, rewriting scenes with new captions. He offered you shelter. You offered him sarcasm. He brought you tea. You brought him pride. Her mother called from Kumasi. "My daughter, are you okay? Your cousin sent me a link." Emma sat up. "I'm fine, Ma." You are not the first to make a mistake. But don't hide. When you hide, people write your story for you. After the call, Lydia showed up with a bag of keluele and a plan. Post a video, not a notes-app paragraph. A real video. Tell your truth before clout people twist it beyond repair. We'll frame it right, honest, humble, no begging. Emma stared at her ring light like it was a guillotine. They will laugh. They are already laughing, Lydia said softly. Let them laugh at your courage. They arranged the corner of her small room, white wall, a flower in a jar, her sewing machine in the background like a witness. Lydia hit record. "Hello," Emma began, hands clasped. "My name is Emma. I'm a tailor at Makola. I want to tell you about a mistake I made." She told them everything, the rainstorm, the tea, skybar, the envelope, the argument, the notification. She didn't blame Prince, or Lydia, or Instagram aesthetics. She blamed the part of herself that believed kindness is only valuable when packaged in luxury. "If you are watching this," she said, voice steady, "please learn from me. Do not judge people by how they look. I thought I needed a rich man to have a rich life. But a rich life begins in the heart. Mr. Owusu, Kwame, if you see this, I am sorry. Not because you are wealthy, but because you were good." She ended with a small smile. "I'm going back to work tomorrow. If you want a dress that tells the truth, come to me. I'll sew it with humility." Lydia exhaled. "Perfect." They posted it. Within minutes, comments poured in, some vicious, some tender, many complicated. But something unexpected happened. Other women stitched a video, confessing times they dismissed someone who later proved valuable beyond money. A conversation bloomed where a bonfire had been. By midnight, Emma's video trended. Not as a scandal, as a mirror. The storm was still there, but now she had an umbrella she built herself. Across town, Kwame sat in his apartment scrolling. He watched her video twice, then set the phone down and stared at the city lights. The humility in her voice wasn't performance. It was a turning. He whispered to the room, "Good." 2 days later, a radio station invited Emma to speak. She nearly declined, then remembered her mother's words, "Don't hide." She wore a simple Ankara dress and carried a sketchbook in case her hands needed something to do. The host, a woman with a golden voice, began kindly, "Emma, many in Ghana know your story now. What do you want them to take from it?" "That we must be careful with our pride," Emma said, "and generous with our empathy. The internet moves too fast for nuance." Callers chimed in. A man confessed on air that he'd mocked a mechanic who later saved his life during a highway breakdown. A woman admitted she dismissed a shooter who couldn't afford bride price. He later became a nurse who cared for her father. The lines blurred between gossip and reckoning. Then the host asked a question hanging in the studio air. "If you could speak directly to Kwame Owusu, what would you say?" Emma swallowed. She looked into the camera for the live stream and spoke like he was across from her. "Kwame, thank you for showing me a standard of manhood that isn't loud. I am sorry for using you as a mirror for my insecurity. I see you now, not as a walking bank notification, but as a human being. If you ever need a suit tailored, bring it. I will hem it for free, as a student apology to her teacher." The clip exploded online. This time, the tone shifted. Memes still flew, but respect entered the chat. Fashion pages reposted her work. A celebrity asked for a custom gown. Orders doubled, then tripled. In Makola, traders who'd whispered now waved. One slipped an envelope of cash across her table and said, "Invest in your talent, not your fee." That evening, a courier arrived at Emma's store with a slim black box. No sender listed. Inside, a fountain pen and a plain note. "Keep writing your story yourself. K." She touched the nib like it was something sacred. "Thank you," she whispered to the empty stall. Lydia danced around her. "Girl, your rebrand is rebranding." But Emma shook her head. Not a rebrand, a return. She poured the last of her savings into a new collection. Clean lines, honest fabrics, names like Grace, Mercy, Steadfast. Each tag carried a line from her apology. A rich life begins in the heart. Customers bought not just dresses, but the redemption sewn into them. That night, Emma took a trotro home. No Uber, no skybar selfies. Wind in her hair, dust on her shoes, hope in her chest. For the first time in years, she loved the life she could afford, because she was finally affording the life she loved. Somewhere across the city, a man smiled at a screen, then turned it face down. There was a gala coming, one he hadn't planned to attend. Now, he would. Morning broke with sirens in the distance and the smell of toasted corn drifting through the alleys. Emma arrived early to press scenes before the rush. She flipped the lights. Nothing happened. She tried again. Darkness. She checked the breaker, jiggled wires. A spark snapped, small but angry. The smell of burnt plastic stung her nose. She stepped back. Then it happened. A pop, a hiss, then orange. The fire leapt like it had been waiting. "Emma!" A neighboring vendor screamed. Buckets appeared. Water flew. Someone called the fire service. Emma grabbed her sketchbooks, reached for her machine, coughed as smoke filled her lungs. Flames tasted the fabric and wanted more. By the time the fire service arrived, half her work was gone. The rest was a black, melted biography of her effort. She sat on the curb, eyes stinging, dress covered in ash, watching steam rise from her dreams. Lydia knelt beside her, tears in her eyes. "I'm so sorry." Emma didn't cry. Shock was a thick blanket. "Maybe this is my harvest for pride," she murmured. "Don't say that," Lydia snapped, fierce. "Bad wiring is not God's punishment." Sirens faded. Crowds dispersed. Emma stood to step into the wreckage when a white truck pulled up quietly. Then another. Then 3 more. Men in simple uniforms hopped out, unloading boxes, new machines, fabrics, racks, extension cords, safety gear, even a fire extinguisher with a tag still swinging. A man approached with a clipboard. "Madam Emma." She blinked. "Yes." He handed her a sheet. "Delivery, replacement equipment and materials. Paid in full." The pale line read, Owusu Foundation. Her mouth trembled. "Is this a mistake?" "No, madam. Setup team is coming. We'll install and test the wiring, too." Lydia covered her mouth. "Ah, he did this." Emma walked to the curb and sat again, finally letting tears fall. Not loud, not theatrical. Quiet, grateful tears that wore to the dust. She looked up at the gray sky and laughed through her sobs. "God, you're funny." By afternoon, a crew had rebuilt the store's bones. The new sign read Makola Luxury by Emma, made with heart. Children pressed their noses to the glass. Traders clapped when the lights flicked on and stayed on. A final delivery came at dusk, a small safe and a laminated certificate. Safety inspection passed. Taped beneath was a note in the familiar Kafel script. "Build your dreams, not your pride. Protect them with wisdom. K." Emma pressed a note to her chest. "Thank you," she said to the street, to the evening, to whatever corner of the city he occupied. That night, she stayed late, sorting fabric into neat towers. She wrote gratitude on a sticky note and stuck it to the mirror. When she finally locked up, she felt tired, yes, but not defeated. She felt in a quiet apartment with a view of the sea. Kwame set down his own pen and looked out at the dark water. He didn't want thanks. He wanted her to have space to become. The best charity, he believed, didn't announce itself. It let people keep their dignity. His phone buzzed, a reminder for the Ghana Innovators Gala on Saturday. He almost dismissed it. Then he smiled, clicked attend, and texted his assistant, "Keep it simple." The Ghana Innovators Gala was a chandelured garden of money and ideas, media lights like small suns, glasses that chime with old friendships and new deals. Emma arrived in a gown she designed from scrap silk she'd rescued from the fire, a river blue dress with seams like lightning scars. Lydia fussed with her hair, then stepped back and whistled. If Grace were a person. Emma laughed nervously. "We don't belong here." "Your work belongs anywhere you stand," Lydia said, linking arms. Inside, a curator of Ghanaian brands had invited her to display 3 pieces. People paused, touched the fabric, read the tags. Some nodded at the maid with hot line like it was their idea all along. Across the hall, cameras flashed. A hush passed over the crowd in the way only fame can command. Kwame entered. Simple black tux, no entourage, no gold watch screaming for attention. Yet attention curved toward him anyway, like iron to a magnet. Emma's breath hitched. She hadn't seen him since the tech hub. In person, the paradox of him was clearer, the humility in his shoulders, the power in his eyes. He moved through handshakes and backslaps, then stood for a minute alone near a display of sustainable tech. She felt the room thrum. She felt Lydia squeeze her arm. "Go!" Emma walked like her knees remembered how to pray. When she reached him, he'd already toned, as if he'd felt her coming. "Emma," he said, a smile warming his voice. "Kwame," she replied, her own smile small and real. "Thank you for everything." He shook his head lightly. "You rebuilt that store. I just bought the bricks." They stood side by side, not touching, sharing the same patch of air. Around them, the gala performed its glittering play, speeches, applause, flashes. In their quiet corner, something ordinary and sacred bloomed, the relief of being seen without pretense. "I watched your interview," he said. "The shoot offer." She laughed. "It still stands. President's pay. You don't." He grinned. "Dangerous offer. I may take it." A host took the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we honor leaders building not only companies, but communities. Please welcome Kwame Owusu." Polite thunder rolled through the room. He inclined his head toward Emma. "Excuse me." She stepped back, heart fluttering. He crossed the stage and spoke without notes. "I left Ghana as a hungry boy. I returned as a man still hungry, not for money, but meaning. We built companies. Now we must build character to match them. Innovation without empathy is a machine without a driver. The room listened. Some nodded for the cameras. Some really heard him. After the speech, awards, and obligatory photos, music softened. Guests drifted to the garden where lights hung like captured stars. Emma found herself by the fountain, fingers trailing the water. You always find the quiet places, Kwame said beside her. I used to hide in them, she admitted. Now I rest in them. He looked at her dress. You turned ash into oceans. You turned hurt into help, she replied. Silence again, not empty, but full. I don't know what we are, or could be, he said carefully. I only know I enjoy who I am around you. Humble, not hidden. She met his eyes. I can't promise I'll never stumble, but I can promise I'll own it faster. He laughed softly. Deal! From the ballroom, the band began a high-life classic that made aunties nostalgic and CEOs human. He offered his hand. May I? She placed her hand in his. They swayed in the garden. Not a performance, just two people in step. A photographer raised a camera, then thought better and lowered it. Some moments belonged to the memory, not the feed. As the night thinned, he walked her to the exit. There's a mentorship program starting next month. Fashion entrepreneurs. If you're interested, my team can help with grants, training, distribution. She blinked. Is that for me? It's for anyone who's ready, he said. You look ready. They paused under the last string of lights. He didn't kiss her. Not yet. He didn't need to. The promise hung as bright and fragile as the bulbs above them. Good night, Emma. Good night, Kwame. When she stepped into the cool Accra air, the city didn't feel like a judge anymore. It felt like a witness. And somewhere far beyond the gala, beyond the gossip, beyond the bank notifications, a true love story was quietly finding its rhythm. 2 months after the gala, life began to blossom again for Emma. Her boutique had grown from a humble market stall into a bright studio space near Osu. The air smelled of fabric starch and ambition. Customers lined up for fittings. The hum of her new sewing machines played like background music to her redemption story. But fate, ever dramatic, wasn't done testing her. That Thursday began like any other. Sunlight spilling across boats of Accra, Lydia playing Afrobeats through a small speaker, orders pinned neatly on a corkboard. Emma bent over a half-finished gown meant for a celebrity client. Lydia, hand me the gold thread, she said. The light flickered. Once, twice, then darkness. Nipa again. Lydia groaned. Emma sighed. Turn on the backup generator. Minutes later, the lights returned. They worked through the afternoon, unaware that a wire beneath the counter had sparked into slow, hungry smoke. By evening, as Emma ironed the final dress, the smell of burnt plastic crept through the air. Do you smell that? She asked. Before Lydia could answer, a sharp pop cracked through the socket. Flames leapt from the plug, licking the wall like beasts unchained. Water! Fire! Lydia screamed. They threw buckets, but the synthetic fabrics caught quickly, black smoke clawing toward the ceiling. Emma grabbed her design sketches, coughing, tears streaking through ash. Customers outside shouted, some trying to help, others filming. Within minutes, everything she'd rebuilt, machines, fabrics, furniture, was devoured by fire. When firefighters finally doused the last ember, the boutique stood silent, charred, smelling of ruin. Emma collapsed to her knees amid the ashes. I did everything right this time, she whispered. Why again? God! Lydia knelt beside her, gripping her shoulder. Maybe this is a setup for something bigger. Emma forced a trembling smile. Bigger fire. The joke broke into sobs. The next morning, news sites carried the story. Makola luxury boutique destroyed in fire. Owner recently redeemed internet sensation. Sympathy flooded her page, but sympathy didn't pay rent. Then, just as dispatch began to tighten around her, a convoy of plain white trucks arrived. Men in matching shirts stepped out. Madam Emma. Yes, she asked weakly. They handed her an envelope. Inside, reconstruction package, funded by Owusu Foundation. She froze. Kwame. The men smiled. Our instructions are simple. Rebuild immediately. Behind them, boxes, sewing machines, mannequins, fabrics, even a safety-check power system were unloaded. Emma covered her mouth, tears streaming. He didn't even call me. Lydia whispered, maybe this is his way of saying you're not alone. Emma walked into the half-burnt boutique, sunlight cutting through broken glass, and whispered, thank you. That night, she wrote him a message but didn't send it. Some gratitude, she decided, should be lived, not spoken. Weeks passed, and the boutique reopened, bigger, safer, stronger. The new sign gleamed gold, Makola Luxury by Emma Owusu. Customers asked about the surname. Emma only smiled. Her brand became a symbol of rebirth. Influencers wore her gowns. Newspapers called her the tailor who turned shame into success. But even amid success, Emma thought of Kwame often. She saw his name in headlines, charity programs, mentorship initiatives, but they hadn't spoken since the gala. One morning, an invitation arrived sealed in matte black. The Ghana Philanthropy Gala, honoring leaders of change. Dress code, gold and white. At the bottom, in neat handwriting, would you honor us with your presence? K. Her heart stuttered. At the event, cameras flashed like lightning. Emma stepped out in a self-made white gown lined with golden embroidery shaped like phoenix feathers. The crowd whispered. When she spotted Kwame across the hall, speaking with government ministers, she hesitated. He noticed her instantly, as though he'd been searching the room for that exact moment. Their eyes met. The noise faded. He approached slowly. You came. She smiled. You invited. He chuckled softly. You look purposeful. So do you. Dinner flowed with laughter and light speeches. When it was Kwame's turn to speak, he looked directly at her as he said, true success is when the people who once misunderstood your journey later become part of it. Applause thundered. Emma felt her chest tighten. After the event, he found her outside near the fountain. You rebuilt beautifully, he said. With help, she replied. He shook his head. With heart. A pause. Would you ever let someone walk that journey with you? He asked. She blinked. As in business or? His smile deepened. Whichever grows deeper roots. Emma laughed shyly. You're still mysterious. And you're still brave, he replied. The night ended not with promises, but possibilities, and that, she realized, was better. Months later, Emma's boutique became one of Ghana's rising fashion houses. She started a scholarship for young seamstresses who couldn't afford design school. The grant, quietly sponsored by the Owusu Foundation, provided machines and training. One afternoon, her team gathered for what she thought was a simple business presentation. Lydia, grinning suspiciously, handed her a blindfold. What's this? Emma laughed. Just trust me. They led her outside. Music began playing, soft highlife, the kind she and Kwame danced to at the Gala Garden. Lydia, what are you doing? She stopped. The courtyard had been transformed into a dream. White drapes, candles, flower petals spelling Emma. Her breath caught. Then she saw him. Kwame stood in a crisp white suit, a gentle smile on his face. Kwame. He stepped forward, taking her hands. When we met, I was pretending to be ordinary so I could remember who I was. And you were trying to be extraordinary to escape who you were. But somehow, both of us were searching for truth. Her eyes glistened. You taught me humility isn't weakness, it's wealth in disguise. He dropped to one knee. The courtyard gasped. Emma Owusu, will you walk with me, not behind, not ahead, but beside me, as my partner in purpose, in work, in love? She covered her mouth. You mean Emma Owusu twice? He laughed. The world could use double grace. Yes, she whispered, voice trembling. Yes, Kwame. 1,000 times yes. Applause erupted. Lydia screamed louder than anyone. Kwame slipped a ring shaped like intertwined golden threads onto her finger. For every stitch you sewed with faith. Emma hugged him tight, tears wetting his shoulder. Cameras flashed, drones hovered. But for her, it was only his heartbeat that mattered. That night, social media exploded. The delivery man proposes to the tailor he tested. For once, Emma didn't mind the headlines, because this time the story was true. The wedding became Accra's event of the year, not for its extravagance, but for its meaning. Invitations read, "A celebration of second chances." Held in the gardens of the National Museum, the decor blended simplicity with soul, baskets of flowers from Makola, hand-woven fabrics from local artisans, lights strung like constellations. Emma walked down the aisle in a gown she designed herself, ivory silk over Ghanaian Kent panels, representing two worlds stitched as one. Her veil shimmered in the golden dusk. Kwame waited under an arch of bougainvillea, his eyes soft but sure. When she reached him, he whispered, "You're every answer I didn't know how to pray for." "And you're the test I didn't know would save me," she replied. The officiant smiled. "Do you, Emma Owusu, take Kwame Owusu, who once came to you on a motorbike, as your husband?" "I do," she said, tears glimmering. "Do you, Kwame Owusu, take Emma Owusu, who once mocked your poverty, as your wife?" He grinned. "I do, with gratitude." Laughter rippled through the crowd. As they exchanged rings, the sun slid behind the horizon, draping the sky in rose-gold fire. The audience rose to their feet, cheering as they sealed it with a kiss that felt like forgiveness itself. During the reception, Emma performed a surprise runway featuring her apprentice's new line. The theme, "From Ash to Elegance." Guests stood applauding. Kwame watched her glow with pride. In his speech, he said, "People call this a love story. I call it a humility story. Because love without humility is noise. Humility turns it into music." Later, as fireworks burst above the city, Emma leaned against him and whispered, "We've both come so far." He smiled. "And yet, this is only chapter 1. Their honeymoon took them to the coast of Elmina, where the waves carried songs older than memory. They stayed in a secluded villa, no reporters, no staff, just peace, laughter, and the hum of the ocean. One morning, Emma woke to the smell of coffee and the sound of Kwame typing. He sat on the terrace, laptop open, sun painting gold across his skin. "What are you doing?" she asked, wrapped in a robe. "Something small," he said, "mischievous. Check your phone." She reached for it lazily, then froze. 10 million Ghanaian cedis credited. Owusu Holdings transfer for Mrs. Owusu's dreams. Her jaw dropped. "Kwame." He laughed. "Consider it seed money for your foundation. You wanted to build a school for young designers. Remember." She shook her head, speechless. "You never learned to stop shocking me." He came closer, taking her hands. "Money built my empire. But love, your kind of love, will build my legacy." Tears filled her eyes. "When I first saw a bank notification from you, it broke me. Now it builds me." He smiled. "Maybe that's the point. The same sound, different meaning." They stood together watching the waves crash and retreat, the wind playing with her hair. Later, they visited a nearby orphanage she donated machines to. The girls there called her Auntie Emma the Tailor Queen. She taught them stitches that spelled hope. That evening, under the glowing horizon, they wrote their joint mission: to teach humility through wake, to redefine wealth through kindness, and to prove that the richest hearts are those that still remember the value of being broke. As they watched the last sunset of their honeymoon, Emma's phone buzzed again. Another alert, this one from a student thanking her foundation for tuition. She laughed. "Seems your notifications are contagious." Kwame wrapped an arm around her shoulders. "Then may they never stop." The camera would fade here, two silhouettes against a crimson sea, laughter carried by wind. The end.